The Citizens Club of Springfield Pre-Primary Mayoral Candidates Forum is brought to you by Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport, Central Illinois Building and Construction Trades Council, Maldaner's Restaurant, Michael Higgins, owner, chef, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and through the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Club, good morning everyone, and thanks for coming. Let me extend thanks to the candidates as well. So that we can get right to the business at hand, let me briefly describe the format that we'll follow this morning. It's a format that a committee of the Citizens Club has developed to maximize the candidates' exposure in the time available to us this morning. And we'll make every effort to wrap up the forum so that you'll not be here any later than 9:15. All of the candidates for mayor in the February 22nd primary election invited to participate. Each in attendance will be allocated up to 4 minutes in an opening statement. And in that statement, we'd like to hear a little bit about each of you, why you're running for mayor, and some highlights of your campaign platform. Then each candidate will have an opportunity to respond to a question. The members of the forum's planning committee has developed a set of questions that have been tossed into our Lincoln stovepipe hat here. Each candidate will in turn be asked to reach into the hat and take out one question, which I will read. Candidates will have up to 2 minutes in which to answer their respective question. And then at the end of the forum, each of the candidates will have 1.5 minutes to present a closing statement. We are estimating this format will come very close to filling the 65 to 70 minutes set aside for the forum. Let me introduce now the candidates who have accepted our invitation, all of them, to participate and are present here this morning. Mike Coffey, and I'm from your left to right. Mike Coffey, Mike Farmer, Mike Houston, Mario Ingoglia, Frank Kunz, William McCarty, Sheila Stocks-Smith, and John Thomas. And so we'll begin with opening statements, beginning with Mike Coffey.
Morning. I'd like to thank President Bob Gray and the Board of Governors of the Citizens Club for hosting this mayoral forum. I'd also like to thank WTAX, WSEC for broadcasting the event for our community. The race for mayor is extremely important, and you are doing a great public service. I'm Mike Coffey, a lifelong resident of Springfield, Illinois. I attended Little Flower Grade School, Griffin High School, and the University of Illinois in Champaign. After graduating college, I returned home in the family business and married my high school sweetheart, Lori, who is also a lifelong resident of Springfield. We are the proud parents of 3 beautiful children, Allie, Frankie, and Chloe. Our family business, Saputo's Restaurant, has been a Springfield landmark since 1948, and I'm proud to say that there has been a member of my family on the corner of 8th and Monroe for 4 generations. The work ethic that I've learned from our family business is a lifelong lesson that I will take with me if fortunate enough to be elected mayor. Our business requires us to be the first one to open the door and the last one to leave at night. This is the kind of dedication we need at City Hall. Today, Springfield is at a crossroads, and the decision made at the ballot box will help determine our future. I believe Springfield needs to look forward, not backwards, as we choose a new mayor to lead the city of Springfield. Springfield has great challenges the next mayor must address. Fortunately, we have all the ingredients needed to make Springfield one great city. I appreciate the opportunity to lay out some of my agenda and vision for Springfield. First of all, Springfield must balance the budget. As mayor, I will call for a line-by-line audit of the city budget to eliminate waste and mismanagement. For too long, budget decisions have been made in back rooms by political insiders without transparency and accountability to the people of Springfield. That practice will end in my administration. Secondly, I will not ask taxpayers to give up more of their hard-earned money by raising taxes to pay for overspending. Government must live within its means, just like our families and businesses. Lake Springfield and City Water, Light and Power are the crown jewels of the city of Springfield and must be protected and preserved. As mayor, I will end the practice of making City Water, Light and Power a dumping ground for political hires by employing professional staff. We will reduce costs and improve efficiencies. I will enhance community policing activities and step up patrols to target resources in areas that report spikes in criminal activities. As mayor, I will be the biggest cheerleader and advocate for jobs and economic development. Working with my Council of Economic Advisors, we will develop strategies to grow the medical district, enhance tourism, and help small businesses, the backbone of the Springfield economy, succeed. As chair of the Prairie Capital Convention Center, I have seen firsthand how government rules and bureaucracy can stifle growth. I will work with groups like the Springfield Chamber and the Capital Area Association of Realtors to help eliminate and reduce burdensome and costly regulations that inhibit growth. We can do this while still protecting our neighborhoods and families. I oppose putting the high-speed rail on the 3rd Street corridor because of its negative impact on the businesses and medical districts. I support creating a new intermodal center on 10th Street that integrates rail, bus, and taxi service. I'm running for mayor because it's time for a change. We need to end insider deals and political hiring and put Springfield first. It's time that we have accountability and transparency in government. We need to bring together people from all walks of life, Democrats, Republicans, independents, business and labor, people from the north, south, east, and west of Springfield. I want to make Springfield safer for senior citizens and a place where our children are proud to come home and work and raise a family.
All right, thank you, Mr. Coffey.
Okay.
And our next candidate is Mike Farmer. Again, the green light comes on when you begin. The yellow light, 30 seconds to go. Red light, you're done.
Good morning, everyone. I was thinking on my way in this morning, when was the last time I was on this stage? As a matter of fact, it was in the Springfield Ballet Company's production of Men in Tights. That's not a pretty picture. It's not a pretty picture. But I'm happy to be here this morning, and let me begin by also thanking the Citizens Club, Bob Gray, and WSEC-TV. And I also want to thank everyone for being here. The candidates, I want to appreciate my fellow candidates for your commitment to this campaign. Running for mayor is no easy task, and serving as mayor of the city of Springfield will be the challenge of a lifetime. Whoever emerges as the victor in April will need all the help and support available. And as I stand here this morning, I make this pledge. Whoever is elected to serve our great city, he or she, they can count on my support and all the assistance I can lend. Unless, of course, I win, then I'll be the one asking for a unified effort and support and assistance for all of us together. The next mayor of Springfield is faced with the unenviable task of pulling our city and our neighbors from the most worst global economy of our lifetime. We may not yet know who it will be, but of this I am certain. This is no time for amateurs. The next mayor of our great city must be ready to seamlessly transition into the seat of the chief executive officer. Indeed, I base my decision to run for mayor because of my vast experience in creating jobs and developing strong and healthy economies. We hear some politicians talk about family values, but what are family values? I may be a little new when it comes to politics, but I'm old-fashioned when it comes to family values because my entire career has centered on the creation of good jobs and growing the economy. I understand that jobs make up the core of a healthy, happy, and prosperous family. As mayor, I'll expand our economy and bring new jobs to our community. In doing so, our city's financial pressures will ease. And we, all of us together, will emerge as a great community where Lincoln once worked and lived. Now, this isn't idle chatter. I know how to do it. Let me supply you with a few examples. American General Life Insurance Company came into the city, the mayor, several years ago and said, we're leaving downtown Springfield and perhaps we'll leave the city. We worked to retain 400 jobs and their new facility in their new West Side location. But in the process, we brokered a deal with the Illinois State Police to locate their headquarters in a majestic Franklin Life property. Kindred Long-Term Acute Care Facility just opened their doors a few days ago. They will bring 150 new jobs in a blighted old property known as Doctors Park on North Walnut Street. 150 new jobs, pharmacists, doctors, nurses, technicians on the doorstep of the medical district at Springfield. We worked diligently to retain Pepsi-Cola Bottling Company on East Springfield. There was a company who had outgrown their facility on Cook Street. Wonderful stewards of that property on Cook Street for 65 years. Time for a new facility. This spring they will begin construction of a multi-million-dollar new facility to distribute their products. And coming June 25th, 300 new jobs at Shields Super Center on South MacArthur Boulevard on the extension. And the best is yet to come. There will be more to follow Shields. Companies, retail and commercial, that want to be in the Shields orbit. Very exciting for our community. And likewise, as it is right here at the Hoogland Center in downtown Springfield, where revitalization and rehabilitation of older properties, facade restorations, and streetscaping have made our central business district an area most desirable for conventioneers, tourists, artisans, and urban dwellers. Yes, upper story conversion of some of our older properties, getting the highest and best use out of older properties that have shifted from commercial and office to now residential. And we must continue to enhance the quality of our life throughout the city of Springfield. And speaking of the economy, throughout this recession, the worst in 80 years, Springfield has an unemployment rate lower than both the state and national averages. As a matter of fact, in the paper the other day, the rate just went down to 7.1%. Now, that's way too high. We all can agree on that. But we're better than all of our peer communities in the state of Illinois, except Bloomington Normal.
Thank you, Mr. Farmer.
Compared, okay. Thank you.
And our next candidate is Mike Houston.
Oh, I was waiting for you, Carol. Good morning. My name is Mike Houston, and I had the honor and privilege to serve as mayor from 1979 to 1987. People often ask me why I'm running for mayor. First and foremost, I love this city. As mayor, I felt responsibility for the city, and it is something that I continue to feel. I believe that with responsible leadership, our community has a bright future and that we can grow and prosper. The current state of city finances and the impact on the delivery of public services is unacceptable. Last February, I began to talk publicly about running for mayor in this election. What I saw at that time was an incumbent mayor who did not appear to have a credible candidate to challenge him, and I thought that the voters deserved a choice. I felt that the city needed a change in leadership, and I did not agree with the direction that the city was taking. City water, light, and power had become a political fiefdom. So I decided to enter the race and offer my background and experience to the voters. The leadership and management abilities of the next mayor will have a major impact on the direction the community takes. Springfield needs a mayor who can provide leadership to the city council and who has the ability to manage city government. Those are two different skill sets, and I have demonstrated that I have the capability of doing both. As a former mayor, I know the importance of selling the general public on what needs to be done and then selling the city council. How many times have you heard the statement that it's up to the city council to decide what needs to be done? It's up to the mayor under this form of government to provide leadership and direction to the city council. I am the only person in this race that has demonstrated the ability to do that. The mayor needs to manage the city. I have 20 years of experience in CEO positions. I have over 35 years of private sector management experience, and I was the chairman, president, and CEO of Town & Country Bank up until March 2009. While I realize that the city is not a business, the principles of running a business need to be applied to running government. I know city government, I know how it works and how it's financed. I'm not running for mayor because I need a job or I'm building my resume. I'm running for mayor because it's time that we get serious about dealing with the problems that our community faces, and those problems go far beyond balancing the city's budget. My priorities are to grow the local economy and to work with local businesses to retain existing jobs and create new jobs by fostering an environment and attitude in city government that welcomes and works with people who want to make an investment and or create jobs in our community. I will put our financial house in order and develop a sound financial plan looking at the big picture. We have to approach city government being realistic about the economic climate that exists today and what I would assume will exist in the foreseeable future. We must have clean and safe streets to create the quality of life that the people of Springfield can be proud of and that is conducive to creating economic development, and job opportunities. I will ensure that police officers and firefighters have the tools necessary to protect the people of Springfield. We will develop a long-term infrastructure plan to deal with the serious street and sewer problems that exist and ensure that its services such as snow plowing and leaf pickup are provided on an efficient and citywide basis. I will appoint a professional manager as the general manager of City Water, Light, and Power, and I will pledge to restore the utility to the professional organization it once was and where the employees will once again be proud to be part of the utility. I'm Mike Houston, and I'm asking for your vote on February 22nd. Thank you.
And our next candidate is Mario Ingoglia.
Hello, I'm Mario Ingoglia, and it took me 4 years to get up here. Bruce Drum, how are you? Mayor Edwards. Thank you, Citizens Club. Don Gray's a great guy. He gave me a call. He says, you got to show up. I said, I'm in. So I'm a pretty simple-spoken person, I guess. I look like I should be in an Italian movie. I never got the opportunity, so. But anyways, my history, of course, I'm a citizen of Castelvetrano, Sicily, and my mom and dad decided to take a trip over to America one day, and so we did. And I was 6 years old, and my father got a job in the clothing manufacturer in Jacksonville, Illinois. He was a designer, inspector, and produced garments. And basically, you know, I was on for the ride because I didn't have an opportunity to get off the boat, so here I am. I studied in Jacksonville, Illinois, grew up in Jacksonville, not too far from here, about 30 miles. Used to take the old Jacksonville Road to get to Springfield when I was a kid, and used to come to the concerts and the events and all the tourism sites that there are in Springfield to enjoy. We were taught Abraham Lincoln this, Abraham Lincoln that, which is a major draw to Springfield, and I think that we need to focus in on that still. Abraham Lincoln was the founding father and the most popular president that this state's ever produced. I'm all about tourism because I lived in a very big tourism town at one time when I was in my 20s. I lived in San Diego, California for a decade, and that was a trip, and I enjoyed it. But, you know, I should have probably done it backwards, and I should have retired in California and lived in Illinois, but first. So anyways, I know what tourism can do for a community, and I think that's an untapped market. It really hasn't been utilized much. I have friends in Chicago, and they said, Mario, when we come to Springfield, we look around, we go to get something to eat, and then there's really not that much more to do, you know? And so I try to, you know, embrace that concept when I was coming back from Chicago after we had a SIU reunion. And a lot of my friends are in Chicago, and why can't we draw some of those folks down here and get those Chicago dollars down here and let them enjoy some of our tourism sites, you know? And that's just common sense stuff. But we had one heck of a storm, and I want to compliment the city of Springfield, the Public Works Department, and the fire and police department, and all the first responders for the people that got stuck in the ditches and all. I was one of them. We have to have a community that's based on reliability, and as mayor, I would definitely accelerate that. I think the first responders are the heroes of this community, and I think they should be rewarded in any chance we can provide them with a reward. We also have to have, of course, fundamental street service, and again, you know, the sewers and the tree limb pickup and all that, that's a needed necessity. I'm going to make sure that we have that in place. I'm also going to have an open door policy into the mayor's office. I might even bring my sewing machine in there and put it in the corner for old time's sake, but nevertheless, I'll be able to engage and converse with the citizens of Springfield, I've been here probably the longest place that I've ever lived is Springfield, Illinois. I have all my little transient trips, and I've enjoyed living here, and I want to continue living here and invest in the community. Thank you. My name is Mario Ingoglia.
And at the halfway point, our next candidate for mayor is Frank Kunz.
Hi, I'm Frank Kunz. I'd like to thank everybody for coming here. For 12 years, I've already had my soapbox at the city council, so 12 years, I tried to be open, honest, say it the way it is, base my votes on reality, instead of keep thinking about, what's going to come next. I've served underneath 2 mayors, seen the mistakes they made. I think that gives me enough experience to be mayor. My administration will be back to the basics. We're going to put firemen in firehouse and the police on the street, and the fluff's going to be cut out. And you're pretty going to get the same thing you've seen as an alderman for 12 years. You'll see me as mayor. I'll save you some time. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Kunz. Our next candidate is William McCarty.
Good morning. I too would like to thank Mr. Gray and the Citizens Club for inviting me to be here today. My grandparents bought the Springfield Laundry in 1947, and they operated it there on the corner of 4th and Jefferson until 1979, at which point my parents bought that business and they relocated to East Springfield, where they ran it for over 2 decades before retiring to Florida. The reason I'm telling you this is because, like many other candidates here, my roots in Springfield run deep. I've spent 33 of my 35 years of life in and around Springfield. And it's because my roots run so deep that I'm enthusiastic about this opportunity to lead the city. And I believe I have the education, the experience, and the enthusiasm to get the job done and fix what's wrong with Springfield. I went to Sacred Heart Griffin, yes, SHG, it was consolidated at the time, and I spent my first 2 years of college at Lincoln Land. I went on to Notre Dame and got my BBA in finance, and most recently, last December, received my master's in public administration from here in town at UIS. I have extensive experience in public finance and budgeting at both the municipal and state levels. In fact, for the past 3+ years, I've been the Chief Financial Officer of CMS's Bureau of Property Management, overseeing annual budgets in excess of $200 million. I have business experience as well. As I just told you, my parents had a linen supply company here in Springfield for many years, but they also owned a restaurant. As a teenager, I grew up working in that restaurant, and I know that's a familiar theme, at least with one of our candidates here. But I also own a couple of side businesses of my own. I own and operate them, and I've been doing it for many years. I also have the distinct honor and privilege to serve as both a mayor and trustee, the equivalent of a city councilman, in Williamsville. And I'm extremely proud of my record out there, and I invite anyone to examine it as closely as they would like. 2 things I want to point out. The Government Finance Officers Association Best Practices recommends that cities have between 8 and 15% in reserves. It's 8 and 15% of expenses in reserves. Springfield doesn't even come close right now. When I left Williamsville, when my administration was over, Williamsville had reserves in excess of 100%, which means the village could have operated for more than a year without collecting a single dollar of revenue and without cutting a single person or single service. I also started the Kids and Cops program out there. The intent of the program was to foster positive relationships between police officers and students, because all too often, the only interaction between the youth of the area and police officers is of a negative intent. The SJR did a story on that, and it must have caught somebody's attention, because we got a call shortly thereafter from the Los Angeles County Police Department. They wanted to know all about our program, and they spent over an hour on the phone with our police chief going over it. Those are the types of things that make doing that job worth it. It's the reason I'm so enthusiastic about the opportunity to lead this city. See, I have a passion for public service, and I always have. I've immersed myself in it here in Springfield. I'm on the board of directors of the Parent Place and Mercy Communities. I'm a member of the ABC Club, Knights of Columbus, Little Flower Men's Club, and several other organizations, and I'm active in all of them. I also volunteer for Toys for Tots, the Muni, and occasionally, when I have time, St. John's Breadline. Ultimately, I feel it's that last attribute of enthusiasm that is most important to be the leader of a city or in any governmental position, because while education and experience, the things that are up here, can make you a good leader, it's passion, enthusiasm, it's what's in here. That's what propels you from being a good leader to being a great leader. And right now, that's what Springfield needs. It deserves nothing less than someone who can be a great leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty. Our next candidate, Sheila Stocks-Smith.
Do I get some of Frank's time? Thank you, Bob and Citizens Club, for hosting this morning's forum, and to all of you for your interest in this race for mayor of Springfield. I can't begin today without recognizing a dear friend of mine. When I first moved to Springfield almost 20 years ago, as part of my earliest efforts to get involved in the community, I met Rudy Davenport, who, as you know, is co-founder of the Citizens Club. What you may not know is Rudy is the chair of my campaign committee, and I am standing here this morning running for mayor of Springfield because of Rudy and others like him, many of whom are in this room today. People who I've been privileged to work alongside in the community, people who every day help make Springfield a better place to live for everyone. That said, we're here today to talk about who should be our next mayor. It's an important question, and this is an important election. Today, Springfield faces challenging times. We find ourselves once again with exploding budget deficits, high unemployment, a public fed up with governments that seem to serve everyone but them, and demoralized city workers. The voters of Springfield are looking to this election to provide a new direction that will get us back on track. That's why I'm running for mayor. We need a new approach to City Hall, one that ensures that we live within our means, creates new jobs, and restores accountability to city government. We need a community leader with common sense approach who will roll up her sleeves and cut through the nonsense to get things done for the city of Springfield, for the people of Springfield. When I made Springfield my home, I made a commitment not only to build a strong family here, but to help build a strong community. I helped form the Springfield Project, Springfield Parents for Public Schools, and the College Assistance Program at Lincoln Library. I served on countless community boards and initiatives. I've organized voter registration drives, fought for honest, open, and responsive government, and for active and informed citizens. And I've been a long time and vocal advocate for improving our schools and neighborhoods. I can tell you that when you spend that much time working from the outside to effect change, you see firsthand how easy it is for people who serve in positions of power to become stale and unimaginative in their approach to the problems we face. We need to shake things up. Let's first build on our strengths. Our medical district and healthcare industry, which boasts a nationally recognized medical school and 2 world-class hospitals, is at the center of our future and needs to be the city's top economic development priority. As a person with deep ties to the medical community, I know this story well, and I will champion this effort. But economic development and community development are closely linked, and we must focus on both. It takes more than TIF designations and facade improvements to revitalize downtown and older neighborhoods. It takes quality schools, convenient amenities, accessible services, safe streets, modern infrastructure, and healthy natural environments. This is a story I also know well, as I've dedicated my 28-year career to working on these issues and more. Springfield is also blessed with some of the greatest national treasures in the nation: strong colleges, an outstanding university, good public and private schools, a business community actively committed to progress, a skilled and dedicated workforce, and families and individuals in every corner of our community working to build stronger, healthier neighborhoods for their children and beyond. As a community leader, I know that the key to our long-term success is the ability to bring all of these groups together in common purpose to move Springfield forward. Springfield needs a new direction, one that looks ahead, not behind. Please support me in my efforts to bring a new, passionate, community-based approach to City Hall. Together, we will work for prosperous, healthy, and safe Springfield for everyone. Thank you.
Our eighth and final candidate this morning, John Thomas.
Good morning. A little underdressed, or they're just a little overdressed, I'm not sure. Good morning, Springfield. My name is John G. Thomas. I'm your writing candidate for mayor. That means that my name will not be on the ballot at the bottom. You'll have to write in John G. Thomas. Unlike Mario, it's a little bit easier name to remember from 4 years ago. I'd like to thank the Citizens Club of Springfield for letting us have a chance to express our views. This is my coming out party for the political future of mine. Like everything else you do, you must get your face out there. I call this my 4-year campaign. Yesterday's paper, SJR, mentioned I'm a bowler with over 60 perfect games. What's that got to do with politics? Well, I happen to be the president of the Greater Springfield Bowling Association, which has over 2,000 members. Right now, we have a 5-weekend tournament out at Kingpin Lanes. You might laugh, but we have 1,000 people coming in from our state, Iowa, Ohio. Over 1,000 different people are bringing in over $500,000 worth of revenue to the city of Springfield. I think that's a big thing. How about you? I own E.E. Thomas Garage. My grandpa started the business in 1934, third generation. I've owned it since 1992. I'm the backbone of the business. I do the bookkeeping, I do the mechanical work, I talk to the customer. Sometimes you got to settle down the customer when they see the bill because it's not cheap to get your car repaired anymore. So I kind of do all the facets in business. I know business, and I'm sure these gentlemen up here do too, so I can't take nothing away from them. I wish the best luck for everybody up here, actually. I make a living using tools. The city needs to make a living using our tools. We have many tools in the city of Springfield. We have the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum, which is where my grandfather started his business in 1934, right on that property. I think that's pretty neat. We have the CWLP power plant, one of the greatest power plants in the United States. We have a brand new water purification plant going out north. We have our convention center, hospitals, lawyers, colleges, downtown festivals, and one of my biggest ones is Southwind Park. That park is one of a kind in the United States. I do want to bring up that one of my mentors in the game of life is Butch Elsey. What a wonderful man that guy is. He taught me how to run business. He saved my family business. I was 28. My business was going down. My parents didn't communicate, kind of way the city of Springfield does. I got involved with Butch. He went out. He helped me out. I ran the business for him for 6 months. I made him thousands of dollars. He went, co-signed a loan with me at People's Bank out there on Cook Street. Who uses People's Bank? I did, because that's the only one that would help me. I paid that $30,000 loan off in 1 year because I was dedicated. Just like if I was mayor of Springfield, I'd be dedicated to you guys. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for the city of Springfield. I know that I might not move on further than this stage right here, but I'll be back in 4 years. I promise you that. My biggest stand is public transportation. I know how expensive it is to get your car repaired. The average person and below average person is not going to be able to repair their cars in 10 years. We need to start working on public transportation. It'll help out the whole community. You got to start somewhere. I think now is the time. Like I said, John G. Thomas, write-in candidate for Springfield, Illinois. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Now we come to that part in the forum this morning where the Citizens Club of Springfield is going to use a little dramatic flair using the Abraham Lincoln stovepipe hat. I would ask that each of the candidates in turn come up and withdraw a question from the hat. You can take the question to the podium with you while I read the question. And Mike Coffey, you get to go first. Tell me what number you've got there, and I'll read the question as you head to the podium. You can keep that. Number 9. The city has made a commitment to install bicycle lanes on new and refinished road construction. In addition to continuing this policy, how will you encourage increased bicycle and pedestrian traffic?
Well, I've studied all the questions last night, and this was not one of the ones that I studied. I can tell you that. I can tell you that right now, boy. I had a list. I've got people that's sitting there firing questions at, and they never asked me one. Michelle, you didn't ask me one question about these bicycle lanes. You know, the bicycle lanes. It becomes about quality of life in Springfield, and what can we do to make the quality of life in Springfield better? We need to take care of our parks. We need to have bicycle paths. We need to have an environment in Springfield that is family friendly and safety. But all of that really comes down to the budget. And not to avoid this question, but until we address our budget issues, until we know where we are financially, unfortunately, we won't have the money for these great services that all of our community needs. So as mayor, issue number 1 is go in there and balance that budget so that we can have extra monies available to put into bike paths, to put into parks, to put into flowers for downtown, to clean this city up and make it, as great as it should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coffey. Mike Farmer, you can come get your question. Each of the candidates have 2 minutes to answer their question, and we'll use the timing lights here. And Mike, what's your number? Number 3. What is your position on Hunter Lake? If a permit isn't realized, what would you propose to do with the land that the city of Springfield has already acquired?
Well, with respect to Hunter Lake, as I mentioned at the editorial board the other day, I think we can all agree it's not a time-sensitive issue. It's been around for a while. And certainly, let me say this, adequate potable water supply for the city of Springfield is absolutely essential to our future. I mentioned a few minutes ago Kindred long-term acute care facilities location on Walnut Street. Jack Shapiro is the president and CEO of Cincinnati, Ohio. The first question he asked me when he was considering that investment in the city of Springfield was, how is your water supply? As we all know, the medical community is just a massive consumer of water. They were very concerned about that. And we were able to tell him that we had adequate water and we would have it in the future. Hunter Lake is an issue that has been around for 30 years or so now. Obviously, we have to decide as a city how we want to proceed with this issue. As we consider our economic future, we have so many assets that we can go and sell. We have a new power plant. We have a new water treatment center, and we have a new sewer capacity coming online. It's time to go sell our city. Should the need arise for Hunter Lake, I think the citizens of the city of Springfield have to make that determination along with City Council. As we stand here right now, I don't know the answer to that. I'll be perfectly honest. But I have to believe we're well prepared should we need to do that. We also have to get our arms around the permitting process and where we're at with that. As the EPA made a decision, how are we to proceed with that? I think that's a critical issue as we go forward, but certainly not the most important issue. I think right now the most important issue the city confronts is new jobs and lowering our unemployment rate, and that's how we will grow our way out of this economic situation we're in right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farmer. Mike Houston, come get your question. Just tell me what number it is.
Number 10.
Number 10. Assuming that addressing budget issues will be your top priority as mayor, what is your number 2 priority for the city, and how will you go about implementation?
Well, as I indicated previously, one of the things that we have to be able to do is to grow our local economy. And the best way to do that is to change the attitude and atmosphere within city government. I've been a banker for the last 24 years. I deal with people who borrow money and invest it in the community with the idea that they're going to get some type of return off of that investment. One of the most difficult things that people who are undertaking projects in this community have to do is to work with city government. A lot of times the game changes in terms of once they've had a project approved, that there are suddenly additional costs that are added to those projects. In some cases, they can make them unfeasible. What we need to do in City Hall is to have an atmosphere that says, we welcome you. In this economy, we should be saying, what does it take to get something done, and not be putting up barriers to making things happen. When we talk about a community, the health of a community is about jobs. If you think that the city of Springfield has done well over the last few years, then I don't think that you're living in reality. We need to create jobs for our citizens, and we need to do that in all parts of the city of Springfield. We have an unemployment rate within this community that really impacts lower income people. And if we are going to have a single community and really approach the fact that we are one community, we have to be able to provide jobs to the people of this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Houston. Mr. Ingoglia, come get your question. Pretty good. Tell me what number you got.
7.
Question number 7, what role will your administration play in the review of options and implementation of a railroad relocation decision?
How cool is that, man? I like that one. I actually got involved with the Enos Park Neighborhood Association. Steve Kunz is up there. And we went up to Chicago, and we got Governor Quinn's attention somehow. We sent one of our friends in there, and she talked his ear off real quick and said, you know, we want to make the right decision for the railroad. I think this is the most crucial event or obstacle this community is probably ever going to go through. If they decide to go down the 3rd Street corridor, they're going to turn this place into kind of like what I would call the Clear Lake experiment. If you go over the Clear Lake overpass, it's frightening to see all the decay around it. And I'd hate to see that because my business is only 3 blocks away from it, you know, from the first overpass on South Grand. It's a complicated issue. Is it really up to the citizens of Springfield, or is it up to the railroad, you know? I actually got to speak to the vice president of the railroad, and I sat there and talked to him for about 40 minutes. He was a really cool dude, and it just was like going on a merry-go-round. He was saying, well, if we go anywhere else, we're going to lose 10 minutes on the time. And we're talking high-speed rail here, and 10 minutes is a lot of time. But, I mean, wouldn't you think high-speed rail would be faster than the time that we're actually talking about? So I guess this is going to be beyond us as a community, because however the lobbyists, the governor's office, the people above us will probably dictate to us how that track line's going to go. So we can only pray that it goes on a track line that won't be an obstacle to our community.
Thank you, Mr. Ingoglia. Frank Kunz, you get the next question out of the hat. Number six. Would you support consolidation of city and county functions? If not, why? If so, which would you pursue and why?
The one I would never agree to is the police, because I think citizens Springfield deserve their own police force. We did consolidate the health department while I was an alderman. It turned out very well for the citizens of Springfield. I don't know about the businesses, because the county raised their rates very bad on the businesses to keep the health department running. I'd take a look at maybe the convention and tourism with the Prairie Capital Convention Center, but you're going to have to show me where the people of Springfield save money. When we did the health department, we did save, we were putting $1.4 million of corporate money into it. We saved that. We did not transfer that to the county. The people of Springfield already pay probably over half the county taxes come from the people of Springfield. So consolidating more city services with the county would only work if the citizens of Springfield get to save money, and I don't see too many functions that you could at this time consolidate and the citizens get their tax money back. So there wouldn't be too many I would look at.
Thank you, Mr. Kunz. Mr. McCarty, come get your question. What number is it?
Number 8.
Number 8. What steps will you take to implement transparency in your administration?
I believe that transparency in any administration is a paramount concern. I demonstrated this in Williamsville with several steps that I took to increase transparency out there. I took the general budget and expanded it into departments so that people could more easily see what money was being spent on instead of everything being commingled together. I also started issuing a budget briefing that was sent out to every village resident so that they knew what our intentions were when we were putting the budget together on what we were going to be spending our money on and what our revenue estimates were. Do the same kind of thing in Springfield. Mayor Edwards has done a really good job this year, I think, in getting more transparency brought into the administration. I think the budget process that they've entered into this year is a great step in that direction, and it's something that I would continue as mayor of Springfield. I also want to make sure that people understand that I would have an open door policy, and then I would work and put every effort I can into working with the aldermen and getting out into the community with the various neighborhood associations so that they can discuss with me personally, face-to-face, what's going on with Springfield and what their concerns are. The point is, if you don't have an open administration, you're never going to put this city where it needs to be, because it means you're not listening to the people that make the difference, the people that count, the people who are the ones that put you there in the first place. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty. Sheila Stocks-Smith. Number 5. What steps will your administration take to mend the racial and economic divide in the city of Springfield?
This process is a little bit like redistricting at the state, isn't it? Or pull the thing out of the hat. This is a really critical question for Springfield, and quite frankly, I'm glad I got it. I believe we are, unfortunately, a fairly polarized community, and I've been here 20 years. I come from a community that, a small town in the suburbs of Chicago that was very racially divided. When I was in college, we had a black family move in on our block 2 doors down, and folks in my community burned a cross on their lawn. So I've been around this a long time. I've been committed to racial harmony and unification of all people for my whole career, for my whole life, really. It is not the kind of thing that, you know, it says, what steps do you take? I mean, you know, I wish I knew what those were. We've done a lot of things. I think there's been good things done with, you know, with education and awareness and things like that. But this is the kind of issue that you've got to have someone in a leadership position that understands this and that makes it clear to the workers and that everybody in the community that racial and economic divides are just not tolerable. We will not tolerate it. I will not tolerate it in city workers, and it'll be made very clear from day one. I think like we've said here and others have stated too, this polarization just serves to create a city that is not worthy of Springfield. And, you know, in order for us to move ahead, we really have to pull together. And that's one of the basis of what I want to bring to Springfield. Thank you.
John Thomas, grab your question. Question number 4, given the precarious nature of the city's financial position due to the economy, the state's lagging payments and pension pressures, how will you approach bringing spending in line with revenues during your administration?
Well, the expense and the spending, I did review the budget that we have here. And I did detect a little flaw in it, and that's what I would be doing. I'd be dissecting the budget so we could find out how to narrow down our expenses and create more revenue. There is one line here, the motor fuel tax fund, which I imagine it's a fund where we get off of gasoline and everything. 2010, we had a budget of $3.5 million. 2011, we have a budget of $16.7 million. Now, there must be a reason because of this. I'm sure there is, and I'm sure that our city council could tell me. But on the outsider looking in, this is a major increase in expense. We're using this fund for something. I'm not sure what we're using it for, but I imagine I'll get to the bottom of it, or one of our candidates will get to the bottom of it. The nature of that is what I would do. I would dissect government to spend less and make more, just what I said, off of our tools that we have in the city of Springfield. This is a great city of Springfield. Lived here 48 years. Want to live here the rest of my life. How many people out there have friends that say, well, I can't wait to get out of this town? A lot of them move for 2-3 years. They come back to the city of Springfield because this is home. This is my home. I want this to be your home for the rest of your life. Thanks again.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. And as time begins to get away from us, we come to the final portion of the forum today. Closing comments from each of the 8 candidates. You'll have 90 seconds in which to do that, and we'll begin alphabetically with Mike Coffey. And Mike, you can speak right from the table there.
Again, I'd like to thank the Citizens Club for having this forum. It's a great opportunity for all of the candidates to get out and let the people of Springfield know our views. If you're looking for a candidate that's going to balance the budget, that's Mike Coffey. If you're looking for a candidate that is not going to raise your taxes, that's Mike Coffey. If you're looking for a candidate that is not going to do political hiring and put professionals in the top spots in city government, then vote for Mike Coffey. I believe we have all the ingredients to make Springfield great. I'm not a polished politician. I'm a small business person. I'm a son. I'm a husband. I'm a proud father of 3. And it would be an honor for me to be the next mayor of Springfield. I'm Mike Coffey. I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
And Mike Farmer.
Thank you. Again, it's a pleasure to be here with all of you this morning. And I mentioned a few moments ago that family values are a staple of my campaign for mayor. But what are family values? Family values mean a job. If a mom and a dad are unable to provide for their family day to day, or even look to the future, how can they do that without a job? If you have a steady job and you're able to provide for your family, then you can have a wonderful neighborhood. If you have a solid neighborhood, then we can have a terrific city. And we do have a terrific city. We have wonderful neighborhoods. We have great neighborhood associations. Vinegar Hill, Enos Park, Sealy Carey, Mather Wells, historic West Side. These are the types of neighborhoods that need to enhance our quality of life. We need to supply the essential municipal services to grow those neighborhoods and to grow our community. Now, we do that with jobs. Who's the most qualified individual to bring jobs into the city of Springfield? You're looking at that individual, it's Mike Farmer. I have the requisite job skills, I have the proven track record. This is an economic situation we're in currently, and the best way for our city to emerge from this crisis is to grow our economy. I've been doing that my entire life. My name is Mike Farmer. I'm a candidate for mayor of City of Springfield, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Farmer. Mike Houston.
Again, I'm Mike Houston. I want to thank the Citizens Club for hosting this event and the various media outlets that have broadened this morning's audience beyond the Hoogland Center. The future of our city is at a critical turning point. Not only can I correct the current state of the city, I will position the city to take advantage of the economic development opportunities that I believe we have. As I said earlier, the leadership and management abilities of the next mayor will have a major impact on the direction our community takes. The future of our city is bright, but we must work together as a community to make it happen. We must invest in our city and our neighborhoods if our community is to have a bright future. We have to create jobs. The health of a city is about jobs. We need to put our financial house in order and match our expenses against existing revenues. I'm not running for mayor because I need a job or I'm building my resume. I'm running for mayor because I think it's time to get serious about dealing with the problems that our community faces, and those problems go far beyond balancing the budget. I am Mike Houston, and I'm asking for your vote on February 22nd. And for more information on my candidacy, go to www.houstonformayor.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Houston. Mario Ingoglia.
You know, I got to thinking I need to clarify something. I became an American citizen at 18 in 1977, so I am an American citizen. I told you I was a citizen of Sicily, but anyways, no sooner than I became an American, I got drafted by the Italian army. They said, hey, you need to come over here for 2 years. I said, man, I don't even know how to read and write Italian. But I worked that out. But listen, it's been a pleasure to be here. I think Springfield's got a lot of promising days ahead of it. It's a great place, land of Lincoln, of course. And I used to be a Boy Scout, used to walk that little trail and everything. It was cool, man. But whoever thought that someday I'd be running for mayor, as my ex-sister-in-law goes, the 18-year-old kid that I knew now is running for mayor. That's the greatness of America, you know. Believe in yourself, believe in your community, believe in your country. And I want to thank you all. Thank you very much. Mario Ingoglia for mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Ingoglia. Frank Kunz.
In closing, the only thing I'd like to say is I think, you know, with me, if you elect me as mayor, you're going to get the same type of openness and honesty I've been as 12 years an alderman. The only thing I would ask everybody is, if you can't, show up to vote February 22nd, because there's got to be somebody up here you like to vote. So everybody just show up to vote for February 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kunz. William McCarty.
You know, I'm not only doing this for the citizens of Springfield. I'm doing this for my wonderful wife, Penny, my 2 young children, Declan and Carter. I want them to live in a city they can be proud of. I want to live in a city I can be proud of. And I really feel at this point in time, with everything that's going on in Springfield, that it's truly important that we look forward and not backwards. It's time for new ideas. It's time for a young, fresh face. It's time for some enthusiasm to be brought into this city. My only request to all the voters that are out there and the ones that are listening is that when you walk into that booth, that you are an informed voter. Please don't go in there and vote because somebody else told you to vote for a candidate. Don't go in there and vote for somebody because they have the most TV commercials or radio commercials or the most signs out all over the place. Unless you count the ones in people's yards, then that'd be me and you can do that. Anyway, sorry about that. My point is, the people of Springfield, I truly believe that they're smart individuals, and I think that they can make their own decisions, and I sincerely hope that they do that when they walk into that voting booth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty. Sheila Stocks-Smith.
I don't know how to work that. I want to thank the Citizens Club again for this opportunity, but mostly for really just doing what you do, helping to inform and engage citizens. As an active member of the Citizens Club since its inception, I hope I'm paid up. I'm a strong supporter of the Citizens Club and its mission. I also want to thank my fellow candidates. Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure to get to know you better, and I look forward to continuing this very positive and policy-focused race. As mayor, I will continue to engage people in the hard work of being a great city. Only by working together will we move forward. It's going to take tough decisions and a new way of thinking, and that's why I believe I'm the best candidate for the job. I hope that you, again, I hope that you vote on February 22nd. I'd like your vote. Sheila Stocks-Smith for mayor. I'd also, quick plug, if you'd like to get involved, if you like what you've heard tonight and like to get involved in our campaign, I've got a great campaign with people made up of active, committed people all across this community, and we'd love to have you as well. My website is Stocks-Smith for mayor, no hyphen, or you can call me at 691-9124, and I believe we've got some information outside as well. So thank you all again.
Sheila Stocks-Smith, and our final candidate, John Thomas.
Well, this has been a great experience. I've never really been up on a forum like this before, but it's awesome that you guys get to meet everybody that's running for candidate. When I got into this race, it was a last-minute decision. I did it mainly to try to get more people to vote. That is one of our last rights we have in America, and everybody should be out there to voice their opinion and vote. Kind of turned around when I realized that it's equal airtime, which not really thinking I'm getting equal airtime when it comes to HAR, but that's okay. I need them on my side, so I'm not going to badmouth nobody. Let's see, getting to the polling thing, I've had over 6,300s. Well, by the way, I had one last night. Perfect game again, guys, nerves of steel. I bowl with a doubles partner. I bowl one week, and then my other buddy bowls another week. His name's Gary Robinson. I want to mention his name. He's Deputy Director of Public Health, state of Illinois, so I do have a pretty good circle of friends. I have some low friends too, but you know, I'm the positive attitude in their life. If I'm elected mayor, I'll be a hands-on mayor. I'll get out there, I'll get dirty. The other day when everybody was out there in the snow plows, I'll be in a plow. I'll be taking care of our community. We're all family, we're all friends. Thanks again, John G. Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Thanks, too, to all of the candidates who gathered here this morning. That concludes our forum for the February 22nd mayoral primary election. Planning is already underway by the Citizens Club to produce a second forum on March 25th for the 4 top vote getters in the primary election, and that'll be held here at the Hoogland Center for the Arts. The general election is Tuesday, April 5th. On behalf of the Springfield Citizens Club, let me extend thanks again to each of the candidates for participating today, and thanks to all in the audience for coming.
The Citizens Club of Springfield Pre-Primary Mayoral Candidates Forum is brought to you by Abraham Lincoln Capital Airport, Central Illinois Building and Construction Trades Council, Maldaner's Restaurant, Michael Higgins, owner, chef, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and through the support of viewers like you. Thank you.